Hello again, it's In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. My name is Ross Brierley, as you surely know by now, but if you don't, it's right there on your screen. Again, it's Royal Ascot fun and games for you tonight. We've had 3 days of action on very fast ground at Royal Ascot. Well, what have we learnt today? We've certainly learnt that money can't buy you love or happiness, but it can certainly buy you winners at Royal Ascot. Swethnam Racing win the first and the last with shareholder and English Oak. It turns out that Kyprios is the second coming in the staying division and quite frankly should be 3 from 3 in the race. If he hadn't escaped last year, he might well have been, but he was back to his best today. Well, if it wasn't O'Brien and Moore in the Ribblesdale, who knew Port Fairy winning that one? And the Britannia, of course, the race there, the winner always gets sold to Hong Kong. The winner had already been sold to Hong Kong and won the Britannia before he went to Hong Kong in the shape of Mickley. Elsewhere, going the distance, Rafe Beckett won the big 3-year-old handicap, box 19 beating box 18, and JRB beat King's Gambit in the Hampton Court, and I'm sure there's absolutely nothing else we will say about that race whatsoever. It was an absolutely fair result, and I don't think anyone could possibly argue otherwise. Get involved on the chat, like the stream, and say hello, and again, tell us what you fancy. Really been working this week. Your best bet of the day or the week, whatever it is, stick it in capital letters so I can see it and scroll back through and give you a shout out, and then you can chat amongst yourselves. And of course, what have we got tomorrow? Well, we've got the Commonwealth Cup, of course, which is, as we know, Tom Segal's favourite race of the calendar. We've got the Coronation Stakes with Irish and English Guineas form going head to head, and we've got loads of others, including wide open Albany and a couple of big field races, as well, a couple of big field sprints. Right, Paul Kealy sat to my left. As I said, all is fair in Royal Ascot races today. Yeah, perfectly fair results. No track bias. There's no splitting into two. No, rides coming from the back, giving winners 6 lengths. Everything's fine.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Let's get it down the way. Because
I think the only people that had a worse day than me today were William Buick and the England football team.
Yes, fair.
Very quickly, the England football team. How can players that good be that bad as a team?
Yeah,
unbelievable, isn't it? Well, they were terrible. But,
a collection of individuals.
But they're going to qualify, aren't they?
I've got the answer to that.
Go on.
It begins with Gareth and ends with Southgate.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Is it Gareth Southgate?
Yeah. None of them like him anymore, apparently.
No, fair enough. Tom Segal's on the show, of course, tonight. Tom, Reading fan, so clearly very knowledgeable about his football.
Means he knows a tiny bit more than me.
He does know a tiny bit more than you, which, again, is a very high bar that has been set. But never mind England versus Denmark. We'll be scraping through the group, Tom. What about day 3 of Royal Ascot?
Yeah, it was what you expect. Absolutely impossible to find winners, as usual. But
you found one?
Yeah, managed to land on one, which was just jam, really. There we go. And we'll try again the next day. 32 runner race. Look, to be fair, the straight track races have been very predictable this week. And with the Hunt Cup, went to the Fav, the Kensington Palace. Well, the straight track handicaps. The Kensington Palace went to the 2 of the top 4 in the market. Well fancied one won the Britannia, and the big one they smashed into in the Buckingham Palace has just gone in as well, isn't it? So we can't complain about trying to find winners on the straight track. It's been there for us. It's just a matter of finding them, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that the rule so far is back the drifters in the 2-year-old races, back the smashers in the big field handicaps, and sit the rest out, I think.
Well, it could be. Look, it's just a bit of luck, isn't it? It's just landing on one. I mean, 2-year-old races are really weird. I mean, my personal opinion is that the 2-year-old, the standard of 2-year-old racing at this meeting is the worst I've ever seen. And I'm old. Mm-hmm. I think it's been really moderate. We were saying it last night, though. I mean, you normally get 1 or 2 top quality Irish 2-year-olds and 1 or 2 top quality English 2-year-olds. It has been. They might as well have been, sales races later on in the season. They're kind of out, and the Irish horses just haven't shown up at all. Well, yeah. I hate to say it, Ross, but I might be onto something with the standard of sires. I'm only saying that because that's what I believe. I think we're in the process of breeding such bad horses. That they're all coming out the breeds ups. It's all right.
Well, this is it.
very nice sire and all that, but he's not going to win a 2,000 guineas for you.
Yeah.
No, this is it, and it all breeze up horses these days, don't they? You know, rock hard fit. We forget about all of them next year.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course it'd be fascinating to see if you're right, because like you said, if they're all absolutely buzzed up to the eyeballs for Royal Ascot and ready and raring to go, once you get to York and you get to Goodwood and you get to Doncaster and you get to Newmarket and you get to Newbury, they might be finishing out the back of the telly and the.
Well, what you'll get is you'll get the Justifies will come along, won't you? And you'll get the Kingmans and the Frankels and whatever. And they'll just be too good for them. They might not be too good for them over 5 and 6 furlongs, but they'll be too good for them over the classic distances.
Yeah.
And therefore, what you're left with is sprinters. And while they're okay, as Sura proved, we're not very good at sprinters. We're not breeding brilliant sprinters, but we're breeding lots of sprinters.
Yeah, fair enough.
So therefore, I think it's just dumbing down the level, and that's a problem we've got.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, you know, we look at the field for the King's Stand and maybe tomorrow's Commonwealth Cup. They're 112, 114 horses, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. The fact that you've got...
It's just slightly better than listed class, though, isn't it? When in your head, in any other distance.
Well, and I mean, the fact that, a horse who essentially was thought to be a miler, dropped back and won one sprint, is suddenly the second coming in the 3-year-old sprint division tomorrow and blown everything else away, apparently, means that the sprinters aren't up to much. Anyway, never mind that. Let's have a bit of positivity, because I think there was, in particular, yes, there was some slightly misjudged rides. I mean, King's Gambit, when he wins the Champion Stakes later on the season, we might look back at the Hampton Court and think differently. But really good rides. I mean, Ryan Moore, obviously, on Port Fairy, again, just in the right position every time. But, you could say William Buick misjudged it, or you could say Sean Levy gave the winner yet another fantastic ride on the round track.
Yeah, I think we're probably too guilty of saying the latter rather than the former a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a terrible ride from Buick, I really did. I mean, this is a horse that has been prominent in every one of his last 3 races. And, you couldn't pull him up at Newbury when it passed the line. What on earth are you doing that far back, especially this week, when, apart from when they went really hard and one of the handicaps early on there and going the distance came through, it's been impossible to come from that far back, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's just absolutely crazy. He's easily the best horse in that race, wasn't he? And that's the problem. I don't mind. I mean, jockeys often get a lot of stick for not being able to get a run at Ascot, and I think that's just bad luck.
Yeah.
Well, that ride today was just bad judgment.
Yeah.
He's got it wrong. I'm just thanking my lucky stars that I was having such a bad day that I wasn't going in on a short-priced one. So, to make it worse.
I mean, like I said, it is swings and roundabouts in this game, though, Tom. One jockey's bad Ascot is, another one's good. And I mean, James Doyle must think all these Christmases have come at once. Yeah,
but as I say, those straight track races, they're pretty easy to ride, I think. You tend to get space in the straight track races. I know that probably wasn't the case for a few horses. Holloway Boy, maybe in the Hunt Cup, was a bit unlucky, or to a slightly lesser extent, didn't get clear runs. And maybe Keels' horse, Sunny Liston, maybe could have won on another day for sure. But I think those straight track races are pretty easy to ride. I thought Ryan Moore was brilliant on Kiprios. I really, really did. I know he was on the best horse, but he read the race perfectly from a long way out. Realised the trawler man was getting a sort of an easy one on the lead, put it right on his heels. And I just thought that was excellent. I just thought that was an excellent.
Yeah, I agree entirely. Okay. Anyway, there's 4 members of the team tonight, of course. So we haven't seen him all week. Who knows what he's been off doing? Let's find out, shall we? Mr. David Stevens, good evening to you.
Good evening, Ross. Good evening, gents. Have you missed me?
Nope.
No.
I have, David. I have. I've been stuck with these 2 lummoxes. So it's nice to see you. How have you been, buddy?
I'm good. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be at Ascot for the last 3 days. It's been great being there, obviously, and it's been great not being blamed for all the losers that Kills has tipped this week. So I'll see if we can change that today. But sorry, Kills.
No, Tom was saying it was harsh. It was very harsh.
I can't argue, to be fair. I've been dreadful.
No, you tipped very well yesterday, my friend. Don't let anyone say any differently. Placed horses. That's as good as a winner at Ascot.
Okay, there we go. Tom Segal is...
Thanks, mate.
Well, it's true.
It's true. He's a big softie, really, Tom. He's a big softie. Anyway, David Stevens, what have you got? Have you been absolutely walloped by these big gambles in the handicaps? Your Saïd Bin Sarors and your Ed Walkers in what seemingly impossible handicaps, and the favourites go and win?
Yeah, exactly. They've not been that difficult when you look at the results afterwards, obviously. Look, it's been a roller coaster, some great results. Obviously, Whistle Jacket and King's Gambit, the two that went our way today, but a couple of decent gambles landed. And always worth pointing out, the Gold Cup is the biggest betting race of the week by some considerable distance, actually. So when a Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien favourite wins the race, it's never going to be a great day for us. But I agree with what you said at the top of the show. I think if Kiprios had been racing last year, I think we'd be in the realms of statues alongside the Yates one now, because he's clearly just the best stayer around, and hopefully he'll go on to do what he did 2 years ago. That was obviously today, but we're looking ahead to tomorrow, and we've got a couple of price boosts in the Albany Mountain Breeze. It's currently 7-2, but for the duration of this live show, she'll be 9-2. That's up to a tenner. And in the Coronation Stakes, Ramatuelle, representing France, but ridden this time by Oisin Murphy, is 130. But again, for the duration of this show, will be 4-1.
Okay, lovely stuff. Thank you, David. Right, let's get stuck into those races after this. Okay, kicking things off then on day 4 of Royal Ascot with the Albany Stakes. 17 of them running here for this 6 furlong fillies Group 3. And again, another short price favourite from Ireland, from the boys of Ballydoyle, in the shape of Fairy Godmother, 7-4. Mountain Breeze, 7-2. Twafiq is 7s. Heaven's Gate is 8-1. Simmering 11s. Royalty Bay 14s. California Dreamer 16s with Burning Pine, and bigger prices the rest. Like I said, we have a big field here, 17 of them going to post, but plenty of fascinating talking points. 1, where will they go? Will that box 6 on the favourite be a problem? 2, will we actually have an Irish 2-year-old winner? And 3, if the 2-year-old races this week haven't been particularly good, Paul Kealy, and their horses aren't particularly good, again, do you want to be back in average 2-year-olds at 7-4 in 16-runner races?
No, I think they're absolutely bonkers to do so. I mean, you know, you think to yourself, surely one of these fabs is going to pop up, haven't you? But you go back in short prices in 2-year-old races, what you're doing is you're putting a huge amount of faith in this spectacularly little information. You know what I mean? And as we've seen, horses can improve dramatically from anywhere. Was it the Coventry and the Queen Mary? The horses that finished in the first 4 there, 6 of them were 40-1 or bigger, and the other 2 were 22s. Yeah. 3 double-figure prices in the Norfolk today. So, yeah, by all means, yes, they look like they've got the best form. But I mean, it's really a case of so what. Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, you can say, yeah, we look really good, they look really good and all that, but they've only run a couple of times, and a lot of these, there's 5 unbeaten once race winners against them as well. Like, you know what I mean? What could they be like? So I was trying to look for some sort of angle, and I decided I was going to back Royalty Bay for John Quinn. Now, she just only won a Mickey Mouse race at... where was it last time?
It was Ripon.
It was Ripon, wasn't it? Yeah, well, a Mickey Mouse race, but she picked up really well, and it's hard to do that at Ripon sometimes, I think.
Especially when you dropped out the boxes in the first round.
And she won by 3 lengths. I mean, they paid, I think, 125 grand for her, and you know, she's another bees up filly, obviously by Kodiak. And John and Sean Quinn. John Quinn was very, sparing with his runners as far as 2-year-olds are concerned. He's only had 6 since 2012. 2 of them won. Signor Cabello in the Caballero or whatever it was in the Queen Mary. Yep. The Wow Signal won. Yep. Liberty Beach was 4th at 16-1. Yep. And his other 3 all finished in the top field, and top 10 in massive fields, including a 6th at 100-1 or something. So they all run well, and the fact that she's coming here, I just thought it was interesting, and it's no more than that. You can't say that form at Ripon is any good at all, really, but they don't run something just for a day out. No. I thought I'd just take a chance on her, and that'll do for me. But I mean, it is speculative. It is very small. It's not a strong opinion by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, the
Not
Dams.
that my strong opinions have been worth much this week.
No, but again, it's these prices, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, your likes of your Buicks and your Schumachts have been getting pelters all week for their rides, and they might pop up with a 500 to 1 treble on Friday or Saturday.
Of course, that's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's been loads of times when, you know, Ryan Moore's ended up top jockey and he hasn't done much in the first half of the week at all, and then he goes and bangs in 4 on Saturday. And
well, he's got 4 favourites tomorrow. You know,
yeah, exactly.
It could be.
Yeah, well, he's going to be top jockey, whatever, isn't he? But
yeah,
who knows what happens? But no, I can't go. I mean, if I was going to say I'd fancy Mountain Breeze over Fairy Godmother out of the 2, but I mean, Charlie Appleby's 2 shortest price runners this week were Dancing Rain, who finished tailed off, and Notable Speech, who beat 1 horse.
Yeah. To be fair, his 2-year-olds finished 5th and 6th in the commentary. They ran quite well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah. Some of them have run well, haven't they? Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But
you're with Royalty Bay.
He's not having a great week either, is he?
No. Royalty Bay, then, whose dam is a half sister to Go Bears Go, who was second in the Norfolk and had really good Ascot form. So maybe she could rattle down the rail from box 16. But yeah, 7-4 Fairy Godmother, Mountain Breeze 7-2. Have you put anything up in this, Tom? And if so, are you still following the Archie Watson horses? Because Twafiq seems to have shortened quite a bit.
Indeed, yeah. Readers of my supremely influential trackers column will know that Twafiq was one of my highlighted horses recently. I thought she was one of the 2-year-old performances of the season so far, and so I've got to stick with her. I don't like Mountain Breeze. That's the one I don't like, for the reasons Keel said about the Appleby form. Let's not forget, Dance Sequence was last in the French Oaks at the weekend as well. There's hardly had any runners. There should be a stewards' inquiry about what happened to Dancing Rain Nation there. It went from 5-4 out to about 5-1 and finished tailed off.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, given how keen she was in the... I mean, I think the markets now are quite influenced by... You know, paddock and how they get onto the start. She didn't set
that, though, Ross. It was happening before that. It was all morning she was drifting. She was drifting all morning. I don't know what happened there. Maybe something was up with her, but whatever. But the 2-year-olds, as you say, ran well. But I just don't like her form that much. I mean, you look at the Newmarket form last time. The horse she beat, one of Hannon's horses, has been beaten twice since.
Yeah.
At Salisbury the other day, and John Levy didn't even want to ride her. Rode something else which won the race, and she finished down the new charter, finished down the field. So I don't know. I don't fancy Mountain Breeze. Fairy Godmother's a little bit different from the other O'Brien 2-year-olds running this week. She is a Knight of Thunder out of a good mare. The other ones were One Nevers and all those sort of speedy type. She could be a classic type filly. So they've got a record in the race. This is the race they do well in of all the 2-year-old races recently. They've won this the last twice. So I give her a good chance, but I just think Twafiq did something quite good at Doncaster. The sectionals were good. The time was good. She beat a breeze-up horse that cost a mountain of money at Doncaster, and she beat her really, really easily. So she'd be my choice. I am very scared of Fairy Godmother, and I did think Simmering ran very well on her debut for Holly Sangster. She's by 2 darn hot. I'd be slightly concerned if the ground was... Well, the ground is going to be quick with the ground for her, but she did shape really well for a long way on her debut in a race. The winner of that race won a Group 3 in France since. So not altogether all that surprising that I see Simmering being shortened in the market as well.
No, fair enough. By the way, they didn't win it last year. Donica won it last year. They had the second last year, Matrika, didn't they? But the race that Fairy Godmother won has thrown up the winner last 2 years. So
that's
there we go.
What I meant. I got it confused again.
It's okay. It's a long week, mate. It's a long week.
When you get to 54, Ross, you don't really know what you're doing anymore.
No, well, you've given the social media users all the ammunition now. Don't feed them scraps like that, Tom. They'll be clipping that out.
You're the only Muppet that reads it.
Yeah. Well, there's this lad here. So that's my left. To be fair, he likes to get involved. It doesn't look a good race, does it? It doesn't look a good race. I mean, I thought it was ripe for a turn-up, I think. It just looks ripe for a turn-up. I mean, there's a couple of horses that interested me a bit. One was Heaven's Gate, the other O'Brien horse, who beat a stablemate last time out. Picked up really, really well, I thought, late on. Was quite interesting. And the other one, I mean, look, I don't know what price Nadal Sheba Snow is, and it's going to be a very, very big price. But it's been second on fast ground at Beverley to Moving Force, who then went on to finish second to Shareholder. And then it was fourth behind More Lamb and Aviation Time. More Lamb could have won the Queen Mary. Aviation Time could have won the Windsor Castle. Proper fast ground form. I mean, if we've got extra places, given the way the 2-year-old races have been going, I think that's 100 to 1. 100 to 1, 4 places. Run its face off, David, finished 6th. But hey, it doesn't look a great renewal.
You're on. You can have your 100 to 1 4 places. That's a deal. Look, for everything that's been said, I would have to go for a couple at prices here as well. Twarfeg is one, although he's not the price that he was, thanks to Tom. And the other one was Liberalised. Carl Burks once raced, won on debut up at Hamilton. Again, look, the form there's very little to go on at the moment, but it's just one of those that we've seen Carl already obviously have winners. He won the Queen Mary a couple of years ago. Similar top type, so that one's a 22 to 1 shot. Just another theory, actually, or not theory, but someone has had this chat earlier in the week with someone about the quality of the 2-year-old races. Obviously, there's Tom's angle of what we're breeding now, but the angle this other person put up was that it has just been such a wet and grotty spring that most trainers just have not rushed their 2-year-old. They've just given them all the time, and they said second half of the season the whole 2-year-old races could be so much better and so much more competitive. Anyway, that was just another theory put forward. But yeah, Liberalised and Twarfeg for the 2 here. But yeah, 4 places, and yours is 100 to 1, Ross.
Okay, fair enough. Again, I mean, 100 to 1, actually, given the way the 2-year races have gone, isn't... It's too skinny, actually. I want bigger.
Was it 150? Oh, it was a Norfolk 150 to 1 last year.
It was Valiant Force, yeah. But yeah, I genuinely think she's run 2 really good fast ground races at Beverley, and those Beverley races have worked out really, really well. So I think she's got a chance. She stayed on really nicely last time out, and I'd rather be backing her. I'd rather her finish 6th at 100 to 1 than back Fairy Godmother and she win at 13 to 8. But you can't eat value, as they say. What else have we got? I don't think we've got a great opinion in this from our emailers, our chatters, and that's no great surprise. So let's move on to the Commonwealth Cup, shall we? Where we have 15 runners over 6 furlongs again, and this 3-year-old Group 1, which Tom Segal's consistent and repetitive emails about this being downgraded, I'm sure this year might well contribute to it, because Inisherin is 9 to 4 here, Elite Status 9 to 2, Jasor 11 to 2, Starlust is 8 to 1, Gimme the Beat Boys is 16s with Pandora's Gift, Malcolm Military, and Bigger Prices the rest. And again, another very top-heavy market, both of them in the Shaker Bade colours, admittedly from different yards, and 2 yards who do very, very well with this type. Kevin Ryan for Inisherin and Carl Burke, of course, for Elite Status. But Elite Status was a beaten favourite last year at this meeting as a 2-year-old, Tom. And Inisherin, form looks really, really good. Second to Bellum Justin, battered Kalpana, won at Haydock last time out. But 6 furlongs on fast ground, drawn in box 1, is a whole new experience.
First thing I've got to say, Elite Status might not run. Carl Burke was on the telly today saying it keeps knocking its joint, and he actually said he was an unlikely runner. So that will change the market drastically if he doesn't turn up. I thought he was going to run a massive race if he did. He looked very good at Newbury last time, but that was the day Newbury was incredibly... It was front runner's track, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The audience from the thing. He won the trial, and it just suited his style of running. So while he could run well, I was much more in the Inisherin camp. I'm not sure I could back Inisherin. The reasons you said, Stall 1 being the main one, I don't think it's a massive problem. I do think he's an incredibly classy horse. He's bred to be better than these. He's got classy form against classier horses than these, so I fully get why he's at the top of the market. However, the race, having done this anti-post and been on Jasor at a double-figure price, the more of these that fall out, the better it gets for me. So I'm quite hoping Elite Status doesn't win, and then it looks like a 3 or 4 runner race to me between Inisherin, Jasor, Starlust, and maybe you could throw in Pandora's Gift or Malk. Give me the Beat Boys maybe at a push as well. So I don't think it's class. I don't think it's brilliant, but I think Inisherin could be very good, because he showed that in the Guineas, didn't he? They went really, really hard in the Guineas. We saw what happened. They all fell in a hole. He didn't really. He was the one that maybe finished off City of Troy in a way. City of Troy tried to race with Inisherin. City of Troy finished out the back, as we saw. Clearly that wasn't his form, but Inisherin stayed on really nicely to be 5th, and I thought that was was just all the hallmarks of a top sprinter, the way he ran that day, and he proved it back in the Sandy Lane. So if I'd been doing my anti-post bit and Inisherin had been in the race at the time because he's been supplemented in, he would definitely be my selection. As it stands, I'm quite happy to sit with Jasor because he won the trial here really well, loves fast ground, loves coming off a strong pace, which he'll hopefully get even if Elite Status doesn't run. I just think he's going to run a race for Clive Britton, God, blimey, I'm getting old. Clive Cobb, who's does very, very well in sprints, isn't he? We know that every year.
He does.
He's one of the go-to men in the sprints, isn't he? As opposed to the staying trips.
Yes, Clive Britton, yeah. He'll do well. He will do well indeed. Yeah, I really fancy Crimpline later on in the year, but I'm trying to think of other. What else did we have? What was
Pebbles?
Pebbles.
Yeah.
My favourite flower horse.
What else did he have? I'm trying to think. What was the Warsan? User-friendly Warsan. Yeah.
Terramon.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, again, this is turned into an old people's home as we reminisce about horses we can remember. I don't necessarily think we're going to remember this.
I mean, I'm definitely not far off sitting in an armchair dribbling for the rest of my life anyway. So I'm quite happy to work up to it.
Yeah, fair enough. That's we're going to change the studio for Goodwood, and that's what we're going to have. Inisherin. I mean, he's a proper Ascot pedigree, isn't he? Inisherin. I mean, you've got your Kate Byrons and your Stilios and in the family as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see him winning. Yeah. I look at that race. If you take into account that Van Dijk's just hasn't trained on or wasn't right or whatever, he's beaten Orme.
Yeah,
I know he's beaten Orme by 3 and a bit lengths, but Racing Post Ratings is having to give an Orme a career best for that, just to get Inisherin as high as he is. And that was Orme's 6th defeat of the season.
Yeah,
of 2024. You know what I mean? So. Is it scary for him? I don't think so. In fact, Tom was talking about a race that needs being downgraded. According to the BHA, the official best horse in this race won a handicap last time, being horses rated 80 and 81.
Yep.
And that is Starless. Now, he did hack up and he was giving them £20, but I mean, he's come from a handicap to come here. He obviously does have some group form, and I've actually backed him. That was at 5 furlongs. He has won over 6 3 times. I don't think he should be as high as the BHA have got him, I've got to be honest. But I mean, he looked like he was going the right way at the end of last season. He was obviously third to Big Ebbs in Sandringham. That was 5 as well. But he's won, he's won 3 times at 6. And yeah, I just like the way he went through that race at York in the end, because I thought he was actually struggling to keep up with them to start with, just being niggled into it a little bit. I can see that Rafe Beckett has put on the blinkers. And I can definitely. Rafe Beckett certainly doesn't need blinkers at the moment, does he? He's had 2 winners. He's had a 2nd in the Hunt Cup.
Yeah.
He's had a 4th in the Ribblesdale. You've got to me run an absolute blinder, given how fast you went.
Well, he's just an absolutely fantastic trainer.
Yeah, exactly. And 2 in the first 6 in the Britannia. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's flying. The horse is obviously flying last time. I think Stardust will run well. I fear Jasser. I don't really fear many of the others, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this is right for a turn. I mean, Inisherin, he's really good, but again, Haydock, Newbury, front-running form, going to Ascot, different ground. It ain't for me. I mean, he's the best horse in the race. Elite Status will be a front-runner if he runs and might not run. I think Jasor, personally, is the solid one here, but there's a few that could run big races. I mean, that Elite Status race, he was in the audience spot on the track. Not only front running, but literally practically the exact spot the audience was in. Now, Malk was going down this near side rail and completed the worst part of the track. James's Delight and A Day in Devon have given that form a big boost. He was 2nd ahead of Elite Status on fast ground at Royal Ascot last year. He's 16-1. Seems a bit daft to me. And the other one is Lake.
Do you know what else, Ross?
Go on.
He ran the fastest furlong of any 2-year-old at Royal Ascot last year. Malk.
Okay. Well, yeah.
He's a very, very good horse. By Calix, my favourite. So if he's back to his best, he's definitely in there.
Well, he's clearly a proper Ascot horse, isn't he, after that run? So, and the other one I would throw in is Lake Forest, who has raced 5 times in his life, lost 3 of them, but they were all at Newmarket. But even that, he finished 7th of 9 behind Van Dijk, Tom. 8th was Elite Status. 9th was Jasor. Yet they're 9-2 and 11-2, and Lake Forest 28-1. Now, we've had 2 horses in the past 10 years win this first time out. Haggis is in cracking form. Tom Marquand's a tip-top jockey. I mean, it just looks...
Sure, Haggis is in cracking form. That's my question for you.
Well, he's a 20% strike rate in the past 2 weeks. That seems pretty good to me.
I don't think his horses have been running well. Quite a few have been pulled out this week, and I always worry when horses get pulled out at Royal Ascot. Same with Simon Crisford, because you always think, why are they pulling out? They've been waiting all year for and I don't think the ground things. He's running horses that wouldn't have. I don't know. I would be slightly worried if I was. I think if you were to ask William Haggis now how he was happy, whether he was happy with his string, I think he probably wouldn't be. But nonetheless,
he's 28-1. Yeah, he's 28-1.
So what's the problem? The problem?
He's had 2 horses run at Ascot this week at single figures. One of them was Maldoom, who ran a blinder in Group 1. Gilded Water was a bit disappointing today. But he's also had Doom finish 3rd.
He had a few pulled out, though, Ross. That's my worry. I don't care where they finish. It's when you pull them out and say horse not right or something or whatever. You know, I don't like that. Because I always think if one's got it, lots of them could have it, and he's not happy with them. But listen, the horse is 25-1, so you've got I couldn't care less whether it's been swimming the channel. If it's 25-1, that's fine with me.
Yeah, exactly. If I was tipping up in a showroom and that was the case, then it might be a bit different. But he's just the one in here that he hasn't proven how. Has he trained? He could improve. He loves fast ground. He's a hold-up horse. He's 2 from 2 away from Newmarket, and like I said, all these, we know that they're fine. He could be a bit better. Anyway, David Stevens, the Commonwealth Cup.
We are 4 places each way in this race. I mean, Inisherin is interesting. Obviously, he wasn't in the race originally, but when he won at Haydock, we made him favourite for this race, on the assumption that they would supplement him, which they've duly done. As Tom said at the start, elite status does look unlikely the way the trainer was speaking this afternoon. So be a big change in the top of the market anyway. But I'm a Jasper man.
You're going to 7-2 overnight, are you?
Now that's very hard because we've actually gone 9-2 from 7-2 because we've shortened Inisherin and Jasper. I'm a Jasper man. I've backed him anti-post. I think there were reasons for. I mean, he got well beaten in the 2 Group 1s he tried, but he looked good winning the July Stakes. That was on good to firm, so he'll love the ground there tomorrow. He looks a more mature horse. He settled much better in the Commonwealth Cup trial. Jim Crowley's 2 from 2 on him. I think he ticks a lot of boxes in what doesn't look a particularly deep race. So Jasur for me, but as I say, it is 4 places each way. But expect a big shake-up in the morning.
Okay, fair enough. I've got an alarm clock, mate. You don't need to do that. It's fine. But anyway, that's the Commonwealth Cup. Rattling on to the Coronation Stakes, where we have 9 of them lining up. And Opera Singer is 6-4 favourite here. Ramatuel 130, El Malca 9-2, Porta Fortuna 13-2, Rahaya 9-1, and then a jump out to Content, which of this, of course, is of the highest calibre. Sea the Fire is 28, and Skellet 33-1. With Folgaria a bigger price. Devoted Queen doesn't go, and Opera Singer, who is a very good 2-year-old, of course, for these connections. Here she is by Justify, who of course is having a fair old time of it as a sire of top class 3-year-olds this year. She's 6-4 after being beaten at the Curragh last time out. She clearly needed that run. Henry Longfellow came on for his seasonal reappearance, and she's going to be very hard to beat. But once again, Mr. Paul Kealy, the market. If you haven't backed your anti-post, you've missed the boat.
Yeah, I mean the problem is they just come on so much, Brian Munners, don't they? Like and I mean the quotes afterwards. He said he was staggered that she finished as close as she did because she'd only been in work for a month. And I know that, again it's a commercial operation. It's all about talking your horses up and that, but we've seen time and again this season them really, really pick up, haven't we? And I think she is the one to beat. Now, I backed Ramatuel in the 1,000 guineas, and I think she just should have won.
Yes.
The jockey did go way too fast. Obviously got a proper jockey on now with Oisin Murphy taking over. If he can keep hold of her and stop her being too keen, I think she's definitely the threat. But I do think this is a stiff mile, and you still got to have that in your back of the head. What is she going to do in the last 100 yards, even if she does get a ride that not a silly go forward ride like she got last time. So I can't fancy a Malka at all, just because she's being held up, or she has been held up. They're going to have to change tactics with that. She's got no chance of winning this from the back round there. And I can see FORTUNA running well for sure, and Ruhia, but I just have this feeling that the fav's going to win.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, again, I think given the favourite's very short, Tom, and I don't like Ramachuel from that draw, given her run style, and El Malka, kind of everything fell right for it at Newmarket. There was a couple that interested me. The main one is Porta Fortuna, who's an old friend of yours. Now, she went chasing Ramachuel, a furlong and a half from home at Newmarket. She's got Ascot form. It's hard to see her out of the mix, isn't it?
My worry about her is whether she stay the trip, Ross. I think it's much stiffer, this. You've got to remember, Newmarket's down the hill. It was good ground. It was a bit of a wind behind. It sort of helped. I know they all fell in a hole, but I'm not sure she'll stay the trip properly. I think the thing is, Ryan Moore's going to go hard, isn't he, on Opera Singer? I'm pretty sure of that. She made all when she won the Boussac by 5 lengths. He's not going to sit around and let the Ramachuels and Porta Fortunas, the 6 furlong Group 1 winners or Group winners, have it their own way, is he? He's going to go hard on Opera Singer. So these Ramachuel and Porta Fortunas are going to have to stay, and they're going to have to stay well to get past Opera Singer. I don't see that happening. I think in the next time they run, these horses will be running at 6 furlongs, and therefore I don't fancy either of them at all. I could see El Malka running a bit better, actually. Look, we all know she was flattered. It was only her 3rd run. She had run once on the all-weather, once in a silly Mickey Mouse trial, and then she came won the Guineas. So there is a chance she could still be a good horse. Everyone's sort of writing her off as being a fluky Guineas winner. She still could be good. The one I like is the French Guineas winner. We've seen the French form is pretty good this year. They've won all their own classics. We've sent Ghostwriter, who was 4th in the Guineas over there. He got walloped. We've sent Tamfana, who was 4th in our Guineas, over to the French Oaks. She got walloped. I think the French horses are pretty good. And Ruhia, while the form of her French Guineas wasn't brilliant, she was drawn right. She was badly drawn that day on the outside. She did show a ton of pace. And the thing about her is she is crying out for fast ground, and she's not had it. Now, I know it wasn't soft when she won the Guineas last time, as the French going report would say. It was probably nearer good. But I think faster ground's going to help her again. If you watch her run on the all-weather, the only time she's probably been able to get her feet stable on the surface, she absolutely flew when she won her on the all-weather that time. I think she's going to run really well. I think she's been underestimated in the market because I don't really like the sort of 3 in front of her a bit. I do, as Keel's pointed out, I do think Opera Singer is going to be a hard one to catch, but there is a chance Ruhia's going to stay well too, and I thought she's the danger. I really do think she's the danger. The other 3 are not out of it.
Well, this is the one. So my flyer of tomorrow. If Skelet wins, I'm laughing basically because I don't think she's out of this at all. I mean, she was.
I don't think any of them are out of it. I think those 3 down there were really good 2-year-olds. And I give See the Fire a chance. Well,
I backed her in the Guineas. I mean, she's got to do an awful lot better than she did last time. But
any horse that was, as she was in touch with the leaders, had no chance, did she?
She was drawn in stall 1. Well, she was drawn in stall 1. Trap 16 beat trap 15, beat trap 14 with Campana finishing. I thought it was a massive draw race, the 1,000.
Yeah, it could well have been, but I mean, the form last year was on soft ground, wasn't it? It just worries me.
She's by See the Stars. She'll love fast ground. She's got to like fast ground.
He gets plenty who like soft ground, Tom.
Yeah, I know he does, but he's had 3 or 4 winners. There are lots of them like fast ground too. Majority
and crucially, she's from that family, that Barsheba family. Barsheba rattled off fast ground as well. So there is.
I think the 3
love that family.
Yeah, it's a really good family. Yeah, and you're saying about breeding again. Yeah, by the See the Stars, out of Arabian Queen, was out of Barsheba, was a Dubai. I mean, it's tip top breeding.
Yeah, and I know Andrew Ball. Also, I'm sound a bit geeky, but I'm a big believer in prices. Starting prices these days. I think when horses drift, they drift for a reason, and when they shorten for a reason. See the Fire was very strong in the market on 1,000 these days. She went from 10 to 1 into 7s or something. People thought she was going to run well. She didn't, but I think there were reasons for that. So I could see her bouncing back. I could see Content running really well if she settles and there's a really strong pace. she should have won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. And as you point out, Skellet was a really good 2-year-old as well. She's by Kingman. Kingman's got 2-3 runners in the race there. I think she could go well too. So, Kingman's won 2 Fillies Classics already this season with Sparkling Plenty and Elmelka. So, yes, I think it's more open. The 3 I don't like are sort of the 3 chasing Opera Singer in the market. I like Opera Singer and the ones all at the bottom.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I quite like Port Future, but Skellet, I mean, she's by Kingman. She's from a really good family again. Skitter Scatter was a decent fast ground horse for John Ox a few years ago, but she dotted up at Salisbury on fast ground. She finished second to Dance Sequence, beating her neck at Newmarket on soft, and I don't think she particularly handled it. And Dance Sequence, of course, I know she was bad last time out, but she's placed in a classic. But last time out, I mean, it was her first run of the season. She fell out the boxes. She got bumped. She got bumped again. She was held up last. Fallen Angel made virtually all the running from the get-go. Now Skellet got in the clear about a furlong from home and came home really, really well. Now she was 2 lengths behind Opera Singer, and it was her seasonal reappearance as well. And Opera Singer 6-4 and she's 33-1. Rafe Beckett had the big price second Remarquee in this last year. So yeah, I mean, it's a really, really interesting race, isn't it?
I think it's a great race. I think it's a cracking race. It's not quite the race of the week because I think that has already gone to Rosalian, hasn't it? But I thought this was a really, really good race. I mean, all the Guineas winners are there, aren't they? And listen, Opera Singer's there. I mean, the other thing I got to say, and I'm going to say this quite quietly, what's the Boussac any good anyway? She won it very easily, but the time wasn't brilliant. For something that made all and won by 5 lengths, you'd expect them to sort of run off the clock, and it was good, but it wasn't brilliant.
Yeah.
And the form is nothing special.
Yeah, fair enough.
Nothing special, that's for sure. So I think it's more open. I think Opera Singer is going to be hard to beat just simply because of the way she's going to be ridden, which will put her in the box seat from the word go. But I do think Rohir and the ones at the bottom have a shot.
Okay, there you go. I think Thomas has been going through this race with a fine-tooth comb there. And crucially, David Stevens, he thinks the Boussac is Boules. So Opera Singer could be worth taking on at 6-4.
I mean, she was visually very impressive that day, I have to say. Tom is absolutely right about the form. But what I would say about this is there is a lot of confidence coming from those close to this filly at the start of the week. There's a few people close to this operation that were putting her as their best bet. Now, they've had a few shorties go in, obviously Kyprios today or Gus Rodin, Illinois. So there is a lot of confidence behind her. You'd expect her to improve bundles for her reappearance. But she is very short now. After, as I say, they've had a few go in already this week. I actually like Aiden's other one. It wasn't that far behind the French filly you like, Tom. I mean, it's a real sort of bunch finish to that French 1000. This is Content I'm talking about. There's only a couple of lengths behind her. And again, you'd expect her to come on bundles for that run as well. And she was, they did a lot with her last year, which they do with these Ballador fillies. So I thought she was a big price. But look, to the surprise of no one, I mean, it would surprise no one if Opera Singer does go and justify the obvious confidence in her.
Okay, fair enough. Opera Singer then a 6-4 shot. A couple of people think that she'll be odds on the off. Robert Ballard says Al Malka is his banker. And Rob Britton says Ross has given me 2 winning naps the last 2 days, but Skellet surely not. Yeah, I know, Rob. I'm as surprised as you, but I assume that Clive is your dad, and that's why you're watching. So thanks for getting involved. I hope you enjoyed the shout out. What else we got? Romachuel, best horse in this race, and isn't remotely close, says Ian Wicks. Okay, Coronation Stakes, cracking renewal this year. We have 4 more races on Friday to go through, including the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes, a mile and a half here. 19 of them run for this handicap, and an Ethical Diamond is 2-1 favourite. Crystal Black 9-2, Deacon 13-2, Shadow Dance 8, Backdoor 10s, 14-1 Safecracker, Sea King is 14s and 16-1. Bar those, and here's Willie Mullins and Ryan Moore with Ethical Diamond, who of course will win an Ebor and an Irish St Leger this year, probably.
Is that right? Is that right, Ross? 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
Absurd.
No, same owners as absurd.
Yeah, no, it's Ethical Diamond.
Ethical Diamond, yeah.
It might actually be absurd.
It might be absurd. You really fancied her. Put it this way. I'm getting confused now. We've been talking about fillies.
Yeah, what do you do with a horse that you really like, and then you see it lining up in a 19-runner Royal Ascot handicap with 2-1? Like, You know what I mean?
Put the kettle on.
It's just, yeah, exactly. Don't touch it. Like, you know, I did really like it over hurdles, not just because of one run when I just didn't think he got put in the race. I thought he was being teed up for the Fred Winter, but they decided to wait for the run in the Triumph instead. And of course, he never got to ground. Although he's by Ortad, who loved a bit of soft ground, he just doesn't like it at all. And you know, William Owens paid 320,000 guineas for it, and I was asking a few people, you know, closer to the yard, and they said, well, they've got some big plans for this for the flat. So I am not in the least bit surprised he's very short. And when you look at the past winners of this race, I think 8 of the last 10 have been single figures, 3 have been 7-2, 1's been 11-4.
Well, it's a kind of race. I mean, there's a lot of runners in here that might have either kind of maybe preferred other races or are just here for
yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's every chance that he's different class.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to back horses at that price in that sort of field.
Fair.
But you do not have to bet in every race, do you? Like, you know, and I've been guilty a few times of trying to find something. Like, you know, and I decided to raise the white flag and not really have a go at it.
Well,
so
that's fine. But I'm not
up in a race. I mean, Bagdoll's
No. You can't do that now. You can't say you're not gonna have a bet, and then because you'll talk yourself into it again, and we'll all go, fair enough, and it'll win. But go on, carry on.
I mean, Bagdoll loves fast ground, doesn't it? And there's one here that'll go well. I think Party Central could run well for Gordon Elliott. But yeah, I'm going to try not to get involved.
Yeah, I might have to do that without the favourite market at this race. But I looked at this race, Tom, and I went, well, Bagdoor's the bet straight off the bat. 25s into 10s. I thought I've missed the price a little bit, but this horse in handicaps on fast ground, first, second, second, including at this track. At York, at Goodwood, at Newmarket, at Doncaster, at Yarmouth, you name it. If it's fast ground, Bagdoor turns up and he runs a blinder.
Yeah, he's just up in the weights, isn't he, for that win last time? Whether he's quite good enough to win this, he'll run well, won't he? Because I like the draw on the outside as well. I think they're really good, those outside draws at Ascot come the end of the week. Irish horses first 3 in the market, quite interesting, isn't it? In a handicap, it's like Cheltenham all over again. Personally, I think that's a ridiculous price. He did get beaten last time, and he was fit. Do you know what I mean? He's one of the bottom rated on Racing Post ratings, 2-1. Look, he might well go and win, but 2-1 in a race like this, not for me. Crystal Black is stepping up in trip, isn't he? He might well get it. He might well improve again. I'm not sure. I don't know about Deakin, cheap pieces and a tongue tie. I really like Shadow Dance in this. I think he's got a massive chance. I am all over that Rowley Cup form at Newmarket last year when he and Al-Sakib shot 4.5 lengths clear of Saturn, the horse that beat Ethical Diamond last time. I think he's a really, really good horse. Shadow Dance, I know Roger Berrien thinks the same. It's one of the horses he highlighted as one of his horses that he was going to follow this season, one of the horses he was most looking forward to running at Royal Ascot. Slight doubt is the very fast ground because that came on soft ground, but Almanzor has had plenty of horses, Castle Way and a few others that really, really relished firm ground. So I'm not too worried about that. Been gelded since then, like his draw, think he's probably got 10, 15 pounds in hand. I think he's a really good bet to beat Ethical Diamond.
Okay, he is an 8-1 shot. The other one I would mention is Safecracker as well, who running that Crystal Black race last time out. And, well, I mean, if it could have gone wrong, it would have gone wrong for him pretty much, and he likes fast ground. Also, actually, one more. Just because I put a note next to this when I watched that Bellocchio race back last time out, 2 days ago, Party Central. And an absolute blinder in that from a bad position. Finished 8th, but was coming on really strongly. He's down in trip, bizarrely, but she just ran an absolute corker of a race, I thought. I was flabbergasted to see her turn up in this, but who knows? Party Central. The Duke of Edinburgh Stakes. Stick some hurdles in. It's a cracker, this, David.
It is indeed. 5 places each way. If you don't fancy the favourite, then you're getting each way prices about everything else. I'm in the Shadow Dance camp as well. And the other one I had a couple of quid on each way is Fairbanks for Andrew Balding and Oisin Murphy. Had a really good summer last year, including a win at Goodwood on good to firm. So again, he will like that surface tomorrow. He's already won once this year. Second last time up. Gets the trip, no problem. Fairbanks around the 18-1 mark. As I say, 5 places each way.
Okay, let's move on then. We have 3 more to go through. The Sandringham 505, a mile on the straight course, of course, for the 3-year-olds here. 30 of them run, and as is pretty much guaranteed in the Sandringham, is there a well-backed, well-bred Juddmonte horse? Yes, there is, and it is indelible at 5-1. Kitty Rose at 9-1, Everlasting at 9-1, Forever Blue 12, Zainab 14s, Hard to Resist 14s, Without Words 14s, Fair Angelica 14s, copy and paste the rest. This, if the Irish are going to win a race, though, despite the price of the favourite, it might well be this one, Tom, because you were saying, I think, you say yesterday or the day before, that you were saying about the Irish big field handicaps. Our Lincoln is often a race full of unfit horses ready to go later in the season. The Irish Lincoln's a lot more competitive and often throws up a group horse, and they don't have many of them. So when you get a 20-runner field, a lot of good horses turn up, and some of the ones that these fillies have been running recently are pretty good. There's a lot of Irish chances in here, but it's Beckett at the top of the betting.
And quite rightly too, and in my opinion, she's Shamadal out of midday. The novice stakes she won with a penalty at Doncaster last time, I think, was probably the hottest novice race run this season. Had 3 really, really strongly well-touted Kingman horses in behind her, that some of them had very good form. I think that's a really strong race. She was a big drifter that day. She wasn't supposed to be fit. I think that was trying to get her ready for this, and she still won. She's got an entry in the Falmouth Stakes. I think if you were to ask Rafe Beckett, honestly, who was better, Indelible or Skellet, I think he'd probably say Indelible. And we've got Skellet running in the Coronation Stakes early on. I think she's a rock solid favourite, but like Kealy said in the last race, when you fancy it, when you got a rock solid one, you want to fancy it 5-1 in a straight track 32 runner race at Ascot. You tend to switch off, and that's what I did, because I thought it was too hard with it. If I was trying to find one to beat her, I was probably looking down the wrong lines. Did think Everlasting was quite impressive last time, but she's got a lot of weight to carry. I know the Elliott team loves Zainab. She's by Sarah. I really like Phoenix of Spain, but I'm butting out here. I'm going to concentrate on watching England ball the pants off the rest of us.
Okay, fair enough. On +1, is it?
Yeah,
+3.
I'm trying to get ready for this.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Just watch Italy beat Spain anyway. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few in it. I had noticed that Rochelle, I thought was really impressive at Kempton, could rattle home. Shinja Dai looks like she'll rattle home as well, Asian Days. And I'll tell you what, if Soprano actually gets out of the stalls, she's bred to be a fast ground miler. She was 3rd in the Albany last year. If she gets anywhere near him, she'll have a big chance for George Bowie and Billy Loughnane. But you fancy a couple in this, Mr. Kealy?
Yeah, I fancy a couple. I mean, I spent most of today backing owners or trainers' second strings and watching the first strings win. It's a little bit annoying, so I've backed the Rafe Beckett second string.
Right, okay, yeah. If at first you don't
Forever
succeed.
Blue, I just love the way she picked up at Haydock, because she looked to be going nowhere a couple of furlongs out, and when she finally kicked into gear, she really, that finish was irresistible. She won very easily in the end, and I just thought, she might be by Blue Point, but the stamina on the other side, and she's definitely going to enjoy the mile. We need to talk a little bit about the draw, given that the last race they actually went right on the stand side and they won by miles.
Yeah.
Because both Indelible and Forever Blue are on the far side. Be interesting to see what they do, but don't be surprised if a lot of water was put down tonight, because them times were very fast today. It was borderline firm. So we'll have to wait and see, and you can't be too firm in your opinions about these things, because it can change. But if they all decide to come, if they decide that's where to be, they're at a disadvantage. The other one I've backed is Araseg for Charlie Johnson. I just think she's very interesting now. They've found out what to do with her. I mean, she won a couple of races from the front as a 2-year-old on the all-weather, and she was an eye-catcher on a second start at Newmarket. She saw loads of daylight that day. And last time at Lingfield, they just decided to drop her in, and she bolted up. And she won with any amount in hand. She seemed to really enjoy getting some cover. And so they sent her to Royal Ascot, and they booked Jamie Spencer, straight away. That's exactly what they're planning to do again, obviously. So I just thought she was interesting. I mean, she was a much bigger price earlier on. It's not it can't possibly be my money that shortened her. So other people like her too. And the one that fell off my list is the one I fear the most, and that is Kitty Rose. I mean, you were talking about horses being sold. I mean, this is another one. This one's off to Australia. It's already been sold. and you know, it's got a bit of group race form as well. Obviously, it's a high mark, but I mean, they probably paid quite a few quid for her. It was a really good second in Group 3 company last time. Second to Content last year, and actually beat her in a listed race. So there's some decent form there, and I think she's going to be a big danger. And she's got a high draw if the stand side is the place to be.
Okay, Kitty Rose is a 9-1 shot then here. There's quite a lot of them in this race, but the one last thing I will say is that people, you spend a lot of time in these handicaps thinking, oh, this was unlucky or that was unlucky or whatever, and we say it time and time again, but the vast majority of the handicaps this week have been won by horses who won on the last start, or even the places have come into it and won on the last start, and yeah, you might be off a high mark, but improvers tend to win this, and Indelible, or win these handicaps at Ascot. Indelible is another one of those, David, but yeah, she might well win, but she's 5-1 in the big fields. What have we got extra for us?
We've got 6 places here each way. The 2 I like are Kitty Rose that Kills just talked about. She's top weight, obviously, but she's got that form from last year with Content, who I like in the Coronation Stakes. Oisin Murphy booked. Oisin is evens from 8 to 11 to ride a winner today. He's got a few nice rides. And the other one I like is also drawn up near Kitty Rose, and that's Without Words. Another one that changed hands for a lot of money. Brought over from France now with Joseph O'Brien. Just had the one run for Joseph, and it was easy to back that day and finish second to one of Aiden's. Saw out the mile well though. First time in handicap, expect Without Words to go a lot better. So they're the 2 for me with these 6 places each way.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Right, 2 more then to rattle through on the fast ground on the 4th day Royal Ascot, starting off with the King Edward VII, where Space Legend is 130, Diego Velasquez is 7-2, Agenda 15-2, Calandagan is 8-1 with Chief Little Rock, Theory of Ties 9's Voyage, or Voyage if you prefer, is 10-1, Mondo Man 16-1, and bigger prices the rest. We've got some Derby form represented here, we've got some Lingfield Derby Trial form represented here, we've got some Dante form represented here, but the favourite is Space Legend, who came out of the cocked hat behind Maidan last time out, and again, I think if people were cursing William Buick today, they were probably cursing Tom Marquanders just as much last time out. It was a proper Goodwood race.
Yeah, I mean, this thing about cursing jockeys, isn't it? I mean,
or cursing horses, whatever.
Yeah, they don't get any. What's the word I'm looking for? People don't take into account what's happening in the race, do they? Like, you know what I mean? They don't, bad luck is the jockey's fault, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so,
as in, you could have done something about it, which is not necessarily the case.
Right, which wasn't the case, which was the case last time. There's nothing you do whatsoever on Space Legend. Should have won after track. Like, you know what I mean? But it must have made up 3 lengths in the last half a furlong. I thought it was one of the most eye-catching runs of the season. And is clearly a lot better than that form, and Maidan's run a really good race in the Queen's Vase as well, finished 4th. Probably didn't quite stay, but I mean, it ran a cracker. So I thought, yeah, well worth the step up in tread.
Yeah, okay. Is he your, again? Is it another one where you think he'll win?
He's a selection. I mean, I don't like going too short. It's quite a competitive race, isn't it? Like, but I thought I did think he was the one to beat. Of the O'Brien lot, I would have preferred Agenda, who was second to Hidden Law at Chester, than Diego Velasquez and Chief Little Rock, but all 3 of those are well worth respecting. Like, it's a tight little race.
Okay. Tom Segal, yeah, it's always a funny one, this. Again, horses who maybe not quite good enough to win a Derby or might pop up in a Ledger later on in the year. What do you like, if anything?
Nothing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, I don't fancy anything in this. Space Legend, as Keels pointed out, was clearly a massive eye catcher. How good that form is debatable, I suppose, but he should have won it, shouldn't he? Thought Diego Velasquez ran fine in the French Derby last time. Mondo Man ran fine in the French Derby last time. Not sure he'll like the ground. Chief Little Rock's going to make the run in. The other French horse, Calandagan, or Calandagan, or whatever it's called, is obviously on a roll. Theory of Tides is unbeaten. Too hard for me.
Yeah.
I thought, throw the balls up in the air, see which one gets the best run of the race, and that one will probably win for me.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I agree. Yeah, let's move on. I went through this.
Too
race.
hard. Let's have a crack at the 28 runner handicap later on instead.
Well,
got a better chance.
Yeah, you might get a nice winner out of it, but I genuinely went all the way down the field and thought even the Euphrates could run well after that 4th last time out. So maybe David Stevens will surprise us with a strong pick.
No, I'll do the opposite of surprising you by saying no one will be surprised that I backed Space Legend at Goodwood last time and just stood there and watched as it hit every dead end going. So he'll probably go and win today. I thought the French horse, I'm going to struggle like Tom Callan. The Aga Khan horse has got some good form in France, has never ridden on anything this quick, but presumably they wouldn't be coming over if they didn't think he would cope with it. With 4 places each way, so Callan Dangan, that one will do for me, but Space Legend will probably go and pip it on the line.
Okay, fair enough. You need to stop watching these races from underneath a ladder, David. That's your problem. Stop smashing mirrors before you go. We have one selection. Robert Ballard is with Calandagan each way. Right, the Palace of Holyrood House Stakes, number 3-year-old handicap on the straight track. 28 runners of speedy horses, and again, when Jubilee Walk won at York, I said, crikey, we know where that's going. He looks a right old tool. He is drawn in 4 though. Again, will they split? He's 13-2. Van der Man 8-1. It's 9-1 Duraloli and Chagrin. Dorney Lake 10-1. Mukafa is 10-1. Sommelier is 10-1. Woodhay Wonder 11s and bigger prices the rest. Loads of good horses in here. But again, me and the 3 other people who I'm going to come to Tom first, because me and the 3 other people that read your 2 for the Tracker column, I believe the comment was something like, you don't need to be, I don't know, you might be, or I don't know, you could be an idiot, you might have only seen racing once. I don't know what it was. You basically said the horse to take out of that York race was Van der Man. Are you still in the van with Van der Man?
Ross, thank you. You are my one reader.
I am.
Yes.
I read it 100 times though, so the algorithm thinks it's really popular.
I did see the other day, this will surprise you, the top tracker horses for the week, horses put in the tracker, are the ones I put in for my column. So I thought someone must be reading it. They'll be losing, but they might be reading it.
Yeah.
I like Van der Man. I like him a lot here. What was it? 1, 2, 3 were first, third and fourth in that York race. Van der Man was in 13, up the middle on his own, beat the rest by 5 lengths. He was clearly the best horse in the race in my book. He is a lot better off at the weights with Jubilee Walk. I just think he's going to run a massive race. As you know, sprints aren't my thing, but I thought he had a massive chance, Van der Man. He was the one horse in the race that stood out to me as one I knew, for starters, and secondly one that I thought had everything right from Kevin Ryan in these sprints. Perfect for me, Van der Man. But I think I might have spoiled Keels' fun, because he put me onto one. He dashed at Epsom a few weeks ago, and I hadn't looked at the 3-year-old dash at Epsom, but I did watch the race, and I watched it back a few times. And the one he suggested, which I'm going to forget its name now, Bertie something, or
Billy Webster.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. If you've spoiled it for Keels, let at least have the good grace to let him spit feathers at you.
It was one of those. I put out for the 3-year-old dash at Epsom, and I was completely baffled when I saw the decks, because they put on a new jockey, a £5 claimer who'd never ridden at Epsom, and swapped the headgear, and I didn't see any reason for either. And this is a horse that can miss the kick, and he did just that. He lost track position, and he had to no choice really but to try and go up the middle. I mean, I thought he ran an absolute blinder to finish 7th, and in hindsight, I shouldn't have backed him there, because if you miss the kick there, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not so important here, because what he does is he just breaks slowly, and he's very quickly in the stride afterwards. Like, you know, and he'll be fine here. But he's got Callum Shepherd back on. He's also got the cheek pieces back on, and he just looked like an improving sprinter for whom nothing had gone wrong in his previous 2 starts. They were over 6. And I think he's a 5 furlong horse. He'd won his previous ones over 5 furlongs, travelling really strongly on the all-weather. And I was fairly confident that the bookmakers would miss him, and he opened up at 40-1. But like I said, Tom's absolutely ruined it, because he's less than half that now. But I do think he's. Oh, of course I have.
I know. Well, you haven't ruined it for Keels. You've ruined it for everyone else.
You've ruined it for everybody else.
You come in here ruining it for everyone.
And I can't have a press up when people go, "Oh, Kealy's tipped that. We'll lay it." So.
It's not only me. I think some other tips there was earlier today as well.
Other people. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? You see the price, you just know that's the wrong price as soon as you look at it. So. Yeah, I think he's got a cracking chance. Obviously it's a ridiculously difficult race. I was looking at Van der Man too, but as soon as I know front runners can win at Ascot, but making a run at York, making a run at Ascot, two entirely different things.
Yeah, he's asking a lot,
and it's just asking a lot for me. So I thought I'd leave him and I'd stick with Billy Webster.
Okay. Fair enough. Billy Webster, who according to Google is either named after Kevin Webster's dad from Coronation Street, or a man who works as the new assistant director of Wokingham Borough Council. Who knows, quite frankly. He's an 18-1 shot. I think there's some really very good improving sprinters in here, but Jubilee Walk's obviously one of them. But given the price, I say the price, he's starting to get closer to him, but Sommelier, or Smellieg, if you're not very good with French, but Sommelier was, he did a couple of times on the all-weather over the back end of last year that were absolutely phenomenal. And then King Power bought him. He pulled left, right and centre at Newcastle and got done on the line by Blue Prince, who's run well in every good 3-year-old handicap since. And then last time out, he kept up with Big Evs. And then he came home as well. He's drawn 27, Ryan Moore, Marco Botti, 5 furlongs but stays 6. He's got to have a massive, massive chance, I think. He's the, I'd be flabbergasted if he gets a clean run and he's out of the mix. David Stevens, the Palace of Holyrood House, please see us out with a selection or an anecdote or whatever you want.
6 places each way. I'm in complete agreement with you on Sommelier. That Big Evs run is really good. The book in Ryan Moore for Marco Botti obviously caught the eye. And I like another 10-1 shot as well, Mukaffar. He's another one who stays 6 furlongs, won well at Doncaster last time, over 6 on good to firm. But Jim Crowley thinks he should be equally, if not better, over 5 furlongs. So Mukaffar and Sommelier for me in this last.
Okay, thank you very much. Disney Account agrees with us. I've just remembered, Dave. Oh. Okay, you've agreed with me. Right, I can't nap that then. Tommy Daniels is going with Van der Man, and Wood Haywonder continues to improve for Destiny Sounds. Yeah, Wood Haywonder would have a chance. Pulled out the other day. Yeah, thank you very much. On soft ground, and is a proper fast ground horse. You've brought them all back in again. Let's get rid of them again. Play an advert, and then get the naps.
Here they come, racing lovers of the UK in the Coral Fat Derby. Ladies' Day ladies leading the Tracky Brigade. Top Hat and Tails overtaking the country gentry. Tweed surely chafing. On the outside, Maggie and her copper. Into the home straight, it's Danny's Stag 2 clawing their way up the field. Nan's got the experience, but does she have the legs? But it's the bloke who doesn't know which horse is his. He's won it, and he doesn't even know it. It's the fans that make racing what it is. Coral, we're here for it.
Okay, right, naps on day 4 of Royal Ascot, and this might be the first time in 3 years of doing this show where, quite frankly, I have no idea what any of us are going to nap on Friday of Royal Ascot. I'm not saying we might not get a winner or two, but finding a real clear standout is going to be tricky. But normally when I set it up like that, Tom proves me wrong. So, Tom, over to you first.
Shadow Dance against Ethical Diamond for me.
Okay, there we go, straight in, like an arrow.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Space Legend. James Doyle, Wathenham Racing, they're having a good week.
Okay, thank you very much. David Stevens?
Are you going to nap Sommelier?
No, I'll let you have Sommelier.
I'll have a Jassor in the Commonwealth Cup then.
What? Okay, fine.
Oh no!
All right, and I'm gonna let's get the bow and arrow out, bing, and go for Skelet in the Coronation, mainly because the chap on the chat is flabbergasted, but I think she's a big price, and again, if she wins, someone else can present the show tomorrow. So there you go. Anyway, Spain versus Italy, we're off to watch that. See you tomorrow, 6:30 for the final Royal Ascot in the Know of the week.